ChapterThat. Hi, I'm Sharda from ChapterThat, and thank you for watching our first video of a series of online videos that offers tips and ways to engage with the camera. Today we're going to focus on interviews, webinars, conferences, or even that one desired online date. Now, first things first, I work with the camera on a daily basis because I co-host a TV show in Singapore TV. And the main thing that I've noticed about working with the camera is to be unafraid of it, is to treat the camera like a friend. The second thing is when you're creating an online video or you're interacting via Zoom or any of the online platforms, you want to make sure that you are the main subject. You are the central focus, my friends. So behind me, I've placed myself in front of my mother's old Chinese cupboard, and that kind of maroon reddish flush gives it a kind of nice pop. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to focus on right now is body language. Now, if I'm hunched over like this and I'm communicating with you, I'm kind of sending off a vibe that I'm relaxed, but maybe I'm a bit too relaxed. And if my shoulders are pulled backwards and I'm really like upright like this, I'm kind of a little bit too tense. So we always want to find ourselves in a nice, neutral, open body position, because you want to be focusing with the other person on the other side of that camera. Now, the next thing that I'm going to talk about is eye line. It's really important to talk into the camera. You know how they say the eyes are the window to the soul? Well, it's kind of the same concept here. But it's perfectly okay if you want to communicate with the screen. So I'm communicating to your image on the screen. But when you're giving, a talk, or you really want to bring your message across, it's much more personal, and intimate, and they're all three words around the same concept. It's much more engaging when you are eye to eye with that camera. Okay? All right, so eye line is important. Body posture is important. The next tip that I'm going to share with you has to do with our facial gestures. No, not that much. But it's important to have an open neutral face. And what does an open neutral face mean? It simply means a face that is tuned in, that is listening, that is engaged with the person on the other side of the camera. It's a face that is ready to communicate. So it's very easy sometimes to slip into, some people call it the resting dude face. So a face that kind of, I'm listening, but I'm not showing any sort of expression. All we have to do is just add a slight smile to that, or to not purse our lips, but to open our lips just a little bit. And we're engaging already. Just showing and unlayering our personality is a big way to communicate with the other person across the camera. All right? The next thing are our gestures. So what can we do with our hands? Now, I know a lot of people maybe don't like to use their hands so much, but because we're already at such a large social distance virtually, sometimes using your hands can really bring across your point. You see what I'm doing with my hands there? So let's take two scenarios. I'm going to introduce myself and the university of choice that I'd like to go to. Hi, I'm Sharda Harrison, and I'm really excited to go to the National University of Singapore because it is such a prestigious school, right? That's me using no gestures at all. Let's try some gestures now. Hi, I'm Sharda Harrison, and I'm really excited to be applying for the National University of Singapore because it is a really prestigious school. Now, using your gestures allows for you to let your personality come out and play a little bit more. Sometimes it even shows that you're confident because you're relaxed and you're free in your body. The last piece of advice I have for you has to do with what actors use in the theatre in a skill called sight reading. Now, sight reading is when you hold pieces of text for the first time and you're reading it live. Now, when actors do this, the tendency to want to hold your text right in front of you and read off like that is there because it's a frightening process. But what we're trained to do is we're trained to hold the text in our left hand, keeping an open, neutral body posture and position, and we refer to our text using our eyes and engaging the audience. So it might look something like this. And then he held her hand, and in her hand she held a rose, and in that rose held her love. I just made that up. But the idea is there, the engagement with the audience without closing the self off. So when we transfer this practice into engaging with the camera, it's pretty much the same thing. If you don't want to refer to your notes in another window on your computer and you want to hold your notes in your hand, please don't hold them in your hands underneath your chin like this, because what happens is you're engaging with your audience, disengaging to read your notes, engaging with your audience, disengaging to read your notes. You want to have it at the side of you, whether you prefer the right hand, whether you prefer the left hand, that's fine. If you want to have your notes on camera, you can. And if you want to take your notes off camera, it's also totally possible, referring to them every now and then, engaging with the audience, referring to your notes, and engaging with the audience. All right? So I hope this video was useful to you. Just to recap, always make sure you're the subject and your background is not in competition with you. Make sure that you're in a nice, neutral, open, relaxed position. When working with eyeline, look into the camera, preferably use your facial expression and your hand gestures. And of course, if you want to practice some sight reading, use your notes in your left hand, open body position. All right? At the end of the day, it's just really important to know that we're opening up our heart chakras to the other person or the other people on the other side of that camera. So if you enjoyed this video or if you have found it useful, please hit the subscribe button or leave a comment to tell us what you think, or if you have any tips for us, because we're more than happy to share and hear your ideas. It's been a pleasure making this video for you, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.